Hi, my name's Rhydian. I've been a member of Regia for 10-11 years now. The current set of kit I'm wearing and some of the stuff I have with me is for a project I've been working on for a long time, which is to do a historically accurate portrayal of what Pictish people would have looked like. So all of what I'm wearing right now is I've researched looking at the Pictish stones archaeology that we have and a couple of other sources as well, and I'm just going to talk you through it to just give you an idea of what Pictish clothing and some of their war gear would have been like. So the tunic is what I'll start with. It's pretty much just the standard early medieval man's tunic with just a couple of small differences. So the gore, the big triangle in the side, goes right up into the armpit. You don't really see that anywhere else, but there's a couple of stone carvings that show it. There's a very, very famous one from Orkney, Brocha Bursay stone, that shows it. The other thing that shows is the three warriors in that. They all have, their tunics are actually a bit longer than this one, but we do see ones this length as well. They're all armed with spears because everybody in the early medieval period carried one of these, but they're also armed with these wee square bucklers, which I've not seen any other contemporary culture using. They seem to be a uniquely Pictish thing. If anybody knows of them elsewhere, please tell me, I would love to see it. And they're actually really, really good for spear fighting because you can do things like catch a spear on the corner and rotate it off. You can do the same thing if you're using a sword. They're actually a lot of fun to use, very, very different to anything else. We think them from maybe a more skirmish warfare style of fighting than a big round shield, which is much better for locking into a shield, or you just can't do that with this, it's not big enough. The other thing that I've got on that's quite obvious is the hood. This is based partly off one found in Orkney. There's some speculation that may have actually been for a child, so I've kind of scaled it up. But we do also see people wearing these sorts of hoods in a lot of the stone images as well. So this is kind of working off those two bits of evidence to try and get something as close to what we think it should be as we can. The other one is I'm wearing short trousers. Again, it's quite hard to see on a lot of the stonework because it's quite faint, but it is just about visible on a lot of them. So this is what I've gone with for this impression. And then we get to the really weird bit of clothing, which is the shoes. They are possibly the silliest piece of footwear I've ever seen. They're brilliant. We see images of this style of footwear being worn by men who are riding a lot. My theory, and it is a guess, I have to emphasise that, this front tongue is actually to protect your foot from stirrup, is what I think it might be, as well as just fashion. And the back tongue is to help you pull it on. They've probably gotten longer over time. These are turn shoes, so they're stitched inside out and then turn the right way around, like most early medieval footwear. But they have these stiffeners front and back with the decorative stitching on them. And the decorative stitching is based on some shoes that were found at Whithorn on the east coast of Scotland, which is from about the same time period. Also, on quite a few Pictish stones we see some swords. This is a bit of a work in progress for me. This one is actually a sharp, so this is the real deal, but the pommel and crossguard, from what we can see, look very similar to Pictish ones. This is still a bit of a work in progress because on Pictish examples the tip of the scabbard, there should be a piece of metal on there called a chape. Most of the Scandinavian and Saxon ones, they're quite pointy like this scabbard. Picts seem to have liked a sort of half circle one. There's some really cool examples found in a hoard in the 1950s on St Ninian's Isle. They are absolutely amazing. They also found a gold pommel which has some beautiful, beautiful metalwork on it. It's wonderfully decorated. The last two bits of war gear are again a slightly different style of shield that seems to have been unique to the Picts. Among a lot of people sort of researching this at the moment, these have become nicknamed H bucklers because they look a bit like the letter H. These are fantastic again for spear fighting. There's a wonderful example of one on the St Andrew's sarcophagus, as well as a couple of other ones, the Nig stone, which I will come back to. But these cutouts are fantastic for catching and controlling spears and other weapons. I have actually managed to do something slightly wrong on this one, which I'm going to be fixing in future, which is the handle should actually be that way, not the way I've got it. After I made this, I saw the Nig stone, where you actually see this side of the shield in his hand, so you can actually see how it's orientated, and I got that wrong. I'm going to fix it, but I've not had a chance to yet. The other odd bit of kit that you wouldn't see very much in the rest of the early medieval world is a crossbow, weirdly. So we have 3 carvings showing Picts using these, and in the National Museum of Scotland is a bit of the trigger mechanism. The trigger mechanism on this one is steel, the original is antler. I've made a safety compromise just to make sure that it's not going to wear and we're going to get misfires, so this is not historically accurate, but it is a safety compromise. It's quite hard to work out exactly what they would have looked like, so this has been based on the stone carvings, where you really don't see a lot of detail, it's just a general outline, but I've also looked at late Roman examples to try and get something similar. So the Picts were in Scotland a lot longer than people generally think. They kind of disappear between 800 and 850. So this would be an earlier design. It is speculative. I cannot say 100% this is what a Pictish crossbow looked like, but this is our best guess at the moment. So the last bit of kit I've got for my Pictish impression is bag. This is based on one that was found in a crannog in Scotland. This recreation was made by a lovely chap called Hamish at Pictavia Leather. He's a seriously good leather worker. He actually got permission from Kelvin Grove Museum, where the original is held, to open up the case, take measurements and things like that. I believe this one is actually smaller than the original, but the construction and all the rest of it is exactly the same as the original, except for one wee little detail, which is Hamish's maker's mark.